Now let's get started. Most of the times, men are given the wrong definition about themselves, and that's why we get the wrong results. A number of times you'll ever hear people say, he's a man because he is in trousers. Other times, men are considered little men because they have attained a certain age. And other times, they are considered men because they have developed some beard. And the worst assumption is that they are considered men because they are able to marry and start children. But to me, this is a long definition. And as long as we are going to give men the long foundation, we are going to expect some frustrating results at the end of the day. How now do we put things right? It is obvious that it was in the mind of God in creation to create a man who become a leader of what he had created. And so every born child or every born baby boy should be made to understand from the word go that they are leaders. And such do not just happen automatically. They must be trained on how to become true leaders. And this is where now mentorship comes in. And mentorship is a process. And in this process, there are some challenges that comes with it. In this process, sometimes it will be painful. But it is in this process that we are trained as men to understand ourselves. It is in this process that we are also trained to understand how better to handle our own lives. And it is also in this process where we are trained on how to respect others even as we respect ourselves. Now, having said that, we now get also to understand that God never created a perfect man. And that's why we keep on making mistakes. And having said that, now that one now brings me to this point whereby we should allow ourselves to understand as men and as leaders that there is no leader that is without mistakes. We'll always make mistakes, whether young or old, whether educated or illiterate, rich or poor, together we'll make mistakes. And anytime we find ourselves making mistakes, we should not allow ourselves to feel frustrated or to feel ashamed, but we should learn to understand that this is part and parcel of our lives. Now, I know right now as I'm talking about failures and mistakes, it is in our mind and in our hearts as men that we rarely accept our own mistakes, even when we are caught red-handed. And sometimes we suffer as we ask ourselves, why is it that we are not able to accept our mistakes? The story did not start with us. As I was carrying on with my research, I read from the book of Genesis that when the first man Adam committed his own mistakes, he was not able to accept his own mistakes. And he went ahead blaming the woman of whom God had created out of him. And having such at the back of my mind, I now can tell exactly where our problem lies in. And that one should not allow us to go into a comfort zone, but we should look for solution and look for ways on how we'll be able from this generation to accept our own mistakes. because we have seen what happened when Adam was not able to accept his own mistakes. We have suffered the consequences. We have suffered the pain for generations, and it has not changed. Now, we must ask ourselves the right questions. How now do we handle with such failures and mistakes that will always come our way? We must get to remind ourselves that accepting our mistakes and our failures is not a sign of weakness, but it is a sign of true leadership. Because anyone who does not accept their own failures and mistakes, they lie defeated now and forever. But any time we allow ourselves to accept our failures and mistakes, we are given a chance to recollect ourselves and to become better than we were yesterday. And above all, we become teachers and encouragers in such areas of our failures and mistakes. And I want just to stop at that, even as I welcome us to the second session of our teachings. I hope you are learning something, and I hope this will help you build up your life as a leader and as a man. God bless you.